Hi everyone. I wanted to get on here, put up a new video, just of something I feel like the Lord wanted to share and encourage his people in during this time. I know there are a lot of different voices going out right now. Voices, opinions, thoughts, distractions, all these different things. And I just wanted to encourage everyone that this is the time that we really need to learn to be still before the Lord, hear his voice, and follow that voice above all the other voices. And yeah, it's crucial to be able to discern what God is saying versus like listening even to our own fears, letting that be kind of like twist what God is saying. So, anyways, learn to hear the voice of the Lord now while there's like storms raging around. I wanted to share something specific I felt like the Lord had highlighted to me. And it started off with a dream. I love a lot of times the Lord speaks to me in dreams, he teaches me in dreams. I really love dreams. So, March 3rd, I had a dream. And in the dream, I was at a meeting of, I think it was like about 200, 300 people, and a pastor came up to me and asked me to go lead worship. And so I was like, okay. So I went up there, started to play and to sing, but then all of a sudden I forgot what I was playing and singing. I stopped everything. I paused and I restarted with a song, and the song was Jesus is Worthy of Our Time. This was a spontaneous song, so I kept singing over and over, Jesus is worthy of our time, Jesus is worthy of our time. And the whole room began to respond. Like, it was just like really, really powerful. And we unified around this phrase, Jesus is worthy of our time. So I finished it. Then a man came up and encouraged me, and then the pastor came up, and it says that the next years will be around what this song was singing. And that was the dream. So a couple of days after I had this dream, I remember I was spending time with the Lord, and he prompted my heart, and he said, Alyssa, what would it look like if people gave me their time? And so I started to ponder that question, because we give the Lord things, like we offer him worship, we give him praise, we give him our lives, we give him tithes, money, we give him all these different things. So what would happen if God became the God of our time? And if we were to give God our time, what could he do with it? So we also see like what happened when he was teaching on the hillside. There were thousands of people. They had no food, and the little boy gave him his loaves and fish. He gave him what he had. And the Lord thanked the Father and did this amazing miracle. He multiplied it. He increased it. He satisfied the needs of all these other people. So what would happen if we were to give God our time? And as I began to ponder it, I was like, well, you could use it for lots of different things, obviously. Miracles. Like, I just saw how if we were to let God use our time versus us choosing what we do with our time, how much increase would happen for the Lord and for his kingdom. I also saw that Jesus is worthy of our time, and how important it is to seek the Lord, to give him time, to spend time with him, and spend time in fellowship with him one-on-one. Just like if you were married with a man or a woman, you give them your time and you spend time with them. You share your heart with them, they share your heart with you. There's something significant about the two of you joining together. If you're not spending time with your spouse, you're probably not growing in intimacy with one another. You get out of touch. The relationship can become hard or dry. So anyways, I just really felt like we need to take time to reflect on our lives and look at where are we giving our time. Are we giving our time to the Lord? Are we giving him our one-on-one time, spending time with him, being before him, getting in his presence? I would say that is the most important thing. So like your time with the Lord, listening to him, learning what it is like to be in his presence, joining in fellowship with him one-on-one is probably the most important thing. And then after that, learning to let him help you decide what to do with the rest of your time. So obviously we have day-to-day things that we go through. However, the Lord can help us navigate where's the best, what is the most worthwhile in investing in. So, and a lot of times we tend to bring other things and it clutters our schedules. So really presenting before the Lord, hey Lord, here's my time. What's worth it and what's not worth it? Where should I be spending my time? Where should I be investing right now? And watching the Lord help organize our day-to-day life. And just seeing what he'll do with it. Because with those loaves and fish, he fed thousands of people. And yeah, it's really, really important. It's really, really important. Especially looking forward. I think if we can be trained in giving the Lord this part of our life, we'll see great increase. One thing he reminded me of is like, sometimes I don't listen to his direction, or I might try to start to do something the way that I think it should be done. But I end up seeing how that actually cost me more time because I ended up falling into a mistake. So for example, one time I was driving home from a haircut, and there was a lot of construction and roadblocks and all these different things. And I remember the Lord saying, stay straight. Even though I knew of a detour that I could take that would cut my time. It would help me get there faster. And the Lord said, no, stay straight. However, straight, there was like all this traffic, and I was just like, no. Like, I know this detour. So anyways, I end up taking the detour, not listening to that little prompting of the Holy Spirit in my heart. And what ended up happening was the detour was blocked. And so I actually ended up having to come back to the way that he had told me originally. So that actually ended up costing me more time than like double the time had I just listened to the direction of the Lord. So it's learning how to let his voice lead us and help us dictate our time. I also know that when we do things with the Lord, it's really interesting because he can actually accelerate processes when we are doing it with him. So just for example, he can actually restore things. Like he can restore time that is lost when we walk with him. It's so amazing because God is outside of time. He's not bound by it. But it is something that we here on the earth actually live by. But anyways, so just part of my testimony is I spent a couple years in a situation that was really, really harmful and really, really damaging to my life. By the goodness and grace of God, he pulled me out of that situation. He saved me. But the damage that had been done to my heart and to my spirit and to my life would take most people years or decades to recover from. like really, like some people would never recover from that. But the Lord, I remember during my healing process at the very beginning, I committed and I said, God, like, I'm committed to your process, how you want to do this, because I don't even know how to go about healing in this way. And the Lord made it clear that if I followed him, he would accelerate my healing. And the healing that took place in my heart, I would say the process was a year to a year and a half. So what would take most people decades took, when I did it with the Lord, and I gave my time to the Lord, I gave it to the way that he wanted to use my time, took a year and a half. And it really was a miracle. It was like, I call it a miracle. So all that being said is Jesus deserves our time. In fact, Jesus himself said that when he walked the earth, he said when he was walking on the earth, he said, I only do what I see the Father doing. That means that Jesus didn't take initiative to decide where he was going, how he was going to use his time, etc. Like, he looked to the Father on how he was going to spend his time. His ministry was only about 3 years long. And his ministry has continued. It will continue to the ends of the age. So the end of the age, we're benefiting from that 3 years. So all that being said, Jesus is worthy of our time. We are in this interesting season right now where our day-to-day life has been interrupted. Like, the ways that we've walked, even the jobs that we have, or the way we have been doing life has been completely interrupted. Kind of just like my dream. So I was playing that song that I knew, and then all of a sudden it was interrupted. God has interrupted our life. And there has been an interruption, and I believe that the Lord can use it to help us come back to what's important, but come back to reconstructing the way that we do life. So, he was even showing me how sometimes, like, even good things that we think are really, really important can fill our life. So, like, ministry, for example, like doing ministry can be one of those things that is godly and looks godly. However, we can fill our whole lives with it, or think that it's what's most important. But the Lord wants to correct that place in us, that our intimacy with God, like, so our one-on-one time with God, our walking with God, hearing his voice, seeking his face, prayer, worship, all that intimacy with God is way more important than filling our life with the doing of the ministry. One time the Lord, I think it was like about 2 years ago now, I was spending time with the Lord, and he said, Alyssa, there's something separating us. And I saw like a mountain between me and Jesus, and I was like, what is this? It's like, what is this thing that's between us? And he goes, it's ministry. And I was like, oh wow, like, even things that are labeled godly can end up separating the thing that the Lord is after, which is friendship, intimacy, walking with God. So all of those things are things to think about, and to be honest before the Lord, to present him our lives, and really, really soberly thinking about how we need to surrender our time. And if we surrender our time to the Lord, how the beauty of what he can do with it. If we are going to continue to be God of our time, we can only do so much because we're limited. But if we learn to operate with Jesus with our time, so much more can happen outside of our limits as humans. He once gave me an invitation. It was a few years ago, and it says that we're seated with him in heavenly places. So Jesus said to me, Alyssa, I want you to start operating outside of time. I operate outside of time. I want to teach you to start operating outside of it. And I'm still I'm learning what that means, honestly. I don't really know exactly what that looks like, but I believe because he gave me the invitation, he will continue to teach me what that looks like and what that is like, and to walk like he did. Yeah. So anyways, I hope this is encouraging, and I hope that it will cause you to draw closer to the Lord, to seek his face, to really evaluate what's important and what's important to God, and to heed it to your own life, and to teach it to other people as well. God's not controlling. He's not trying to control your time or control you. However, he does so much better with it because he is God and he's full of wisdom and he knows all things and he has your good in mind. So it is really good to give it over to him. Yeah. So I'm going to pray. Jesus, I thank you. I just thank you that you are a good God and that you love your people. I pray that you would open our eyes to see the ways that we can give you our lives in greater measures, God, because you know exactly what is good for us. You know exactly what it takes to just build your kingdom in this earth. And I just pray that the people that are listening you would highlight to them how we can follow you more clearly. I pray that you would open up their ears to hear your voice, open up their hearts to encounter your heart, Lord. I pray that you would teach them what it means to spend time with you. I pray that that would be a hunger inside of them, Lord, to get alone in the secret place. Jesus, if you were God alone when you walked this earth, you would step away from everyone just to seek the Father's face. Lord, we too need to do the same thing. Jesus, if you walked the earth and you said, I only do what I see the Father doing, we need to be walking in that same manner. And I just pray, God, that we would feel the sobriety of that, God, that we would stop pouring our lives into things that don't matter, into anxieties that don't matter, into fears that don't matter, but we would open up our hands, offer you our time, because you are worthy of it all. You are worthy of our time, Jesus. And so we surrender to you. We love you so much. We're so grateful for you. We're so grateful that you are the God who's with us and the God who takes care of us. In Jesus' name, amen.